A very good morning to you, Eldrin, and to our viewers at home. Of course, the Minister of Electricity, Dr. Kgosientso Ramokgopa, will this morning be taking us into his confidence in terms of what he uncovered at this crisscrossing this 18 power stations, just to get a sense of where we are in our power generating capacity as South Africa. We know very well that indeed you're right. That address by the Minister this morning coming through at a time when the country has moved from the national state of disaster that was declared by President Ramaphosa over electricity, and now it seems like the minister has been hard at work even from yesterday to try and convince South Africa that his department is not going to be affected in any way by the move to lift that national state of disaster. His address here this morning, Aldrin, coming through also at a time when South Africans have really been battling the power crisis. They've been looking to the department, and most of them just skeptical around the fact that what does this mean when the national state of disaster around electricity is lifted. But the minister just crisscrossing 18 of those power stations since his inception or his appointment as the Minister of Electricity to try and get an understanding of where they are, those teething problems. We know very well that electricity and the load shedding has been attributed mainly to the loss of generation capacity and the losses and the breakdowns at some of these power stations. So the minister was getting a first-hand just information and just addressed by some of the leaders of these facilities in terms of giving him an update of where we are as a country and what needs to be done. He's convinced Aldrin that really it's all hands on deck in trying to address this electricity crisis. And really this morning we'll be getting a sense as well in terms of the plans of action going forward, because we're looking and targeting that winter period whereby a lot of people will be in need of electricity, and this is where the generation grid gets to be really at this point in time under pressure. So the minister will be giving us an update in terms of where they are as his ministry, and working of course with other departments as well to mitigate here where this issue of load shedding is concerned. Aldrin?
And also, Katlego, looking at some of the other interventions, because yesterday with that press briefing as well, we were told that one of the reasons that government has decided to withdraw that national state of disaster was because some of the interventions that have come from the Minister of Electricity, not too sure what some of those interventions are, considering that for now we only know about these visits that have taken place.
Most definitely, Eldrin. So most of the people really looking forward to hearing the minister this morning in terms of clarity of how we're going to move, and those interventions that they mentioned yesterday that they are bearing fruit. So would like to hear from the minister this morning of what those interventions are and how is he going to work around the fact that now there's no state of disaster here that would ensure that funds are rolled into the department to ensure that it does its work. But the minister convinced that at least they've been doing something about it. And remember also the Minister of Kokta yesterday, Tembing Kadimeng, also just going out to try and explain to the nation that since the inception of this Department of Electricity within the presidency, they've been hard at work to try and by all means to mitigate here. And if indeed those results are bearing fruit, there won't be a need to continue under the national state of disaster. But the proof is in the pudding, Aldrin, and we'll be hearing from the minister this morning in terms of what those interventions are, how far are we as a country, and if indeed come winter most of the people will be cushioned from the rolling blackout, and the economy as well will take precedence, because we know very well that the investor confidence has really been battered due to an economy that has been stagnant, due to the fact as well that load shedding is central to what has been happening as a crisis in the country right now. Aldrin?